Joe knows taxes.
Joe knows the market.
Joe knows Social Security.
Joe knows income planning.
Joe knows pickleball? No.
This is Joe Knows Retirement.
Ohio taxpayers, listen up to this video here. We've got a fun one here for you today. If you're looking for ways to give money for free to Christian schools in Ohio, this one's for you. If you're an out-of-state listener here, we know we got a lot of people from all over the country who listen to our content. I think you'll still find this interesting, but also you may be able to find an organization like this that you can actually do in your state just through some research. And so you just want to look up scholarship granting organizations near you, and you may be able to have the same type of opportunity in other organizations around you. And also, if you maybe the Christian faith does not please you, or maybe not interested in that, there's other scholarship granting organizations out there that you can look into that maybe can better suit what your beliefs or values are and still be able to give that money for free is ultimately the idea. But for me, Christian values are extremely important to me. This is something I'm trying to encourage as many people as possible to take advantage of, because this is a way that we can use our hard-earned tax-paying dollars to benefit Christian schools. And if you know anything about me, if you've listened to any of our content, you know that I hate taxes, and I wrote a book about it, right? I hate taxes, and I don't necessarily hate the government. I'm not anti-USA. I don't mind paying my fair share of taxes. I like the libraries. I like the roads we drive on. I just don't want to overpay in taxes. I don't want to tip Uncle Sam. And I always ask people, like, hey, do you feel like the government is the best steward of all of our tax-paying dollars? And of course, everyone typically says no. And so this is an opportunity for you to truly, if this is your values, to truly have your tax-paying dollars go towards your what you value and what you want to see that money used for. And that's an opportunity we don't have every day, and that's why we're trying to educate people so much on this opportunity. And so let me walk you through it. I'm going to walk you through how to do it, where to do it, what's the impact, and just trying to make sure you can understand this the best you can. But if you're looking for further information, definitely go to OCENSGO.com. That's Ohio Christian Education Network Scholarship Granting Organization. I know it's a mouthful, but that's what this is called for you to order to take advantage of it. And you can just go make your payment online. And again, I'll talk you through how it works here. So the way it works is you can give $750 to this organization, and that money will go towards Christian schools K through 12, towards education, to helping people pay for tuition that are not able to do so themselves, basically, or it could go to even character or leadership awards in some way. And so a portion of this money is going to be allocated for that, but mostly it's going to be helping those unfortunate that can't necessarily afford the schooling or need help there, to help them afford that Christian education. Because obviously we know private school, that can be a little more costly, is how that works. And when you make that $750 donation, you'll actually be able to choose which school you want that money to go to. And there's a whole list of schools on the website there that you can check out. And you can actually designate someone for that money to go to. It's not guaranteed or promised it would go to that person, but it potentially could. So that maybe is something, someone out of school, put their name down, maybe they get something from it. And if they don't, at least it still makes a good impact over time as well. So that's how this Ohio Christian Education Network Scholarship Granting Organization, I'll say it again there in case you didn't get it the first time, that's how that works there. And if you're married, you can both actually put in $750. So now I know what you're wondering, and you're asking myself, well, why would I just put $750? I'm not going to get anything back. Well, that's the point. You do get something back. You should give out of the goodness of your heart, but you also should be given for tax benefits. And this is one that we can do both. And so with this one, you'll get $750 back on your taxes. So let's say that your state taxes that year were $850. And let's say you haven't paid any, for example's sakes, and you get that $750 credit. Well, now you only have to pay $100 towards your state taxes. That's a great deal, right? You get the money right back. So let's say you gave it in January. By April, you'd get it right back. So you'd go without that money for a short period of time, and then you just get it right back on your state taxes as a credit. Now, let's say that you have already paid $850 in state taxes, and now you get the $750 credit. Well, now you'll get $750 paid back to you, versus if you never paid it, well, now you just don't have to pay as much. So those are things to consider as well. Now, here's what you need to be aware of, though. Let's say that your state taxes were only $500. Well, if they're only $500 and you give $750, they're not going to give you the full $750. They're only going to credit the state tax that you have to pay. So you're only going to get a $500 credit, which means that $250 you gave, you're not going to see the benefit of it. You'll see the benefit of giving it, but you won't see the benefit from a tax standpoint. So just be aware of that. If that's a concern of yours, maybe you only donate up to what you expect your state taxes to do. But for most people, if you have an income, if you're taking out withdrawals, it's pretty easy to get over that $750 limit amount. And just understand, if you're married, again, that's $1,500 that you could do. So just ensure you're going to have about $1,500 in state taxes or more. And if so, then you're going to be able to get all that money back that you donated into this organization. Now, when it comes to this opportunity, I want to talk about 2 charitable ways of giving that you can do with this as well. And so one of them is what's called a qualified charitable distribution, and the other is called a donor advised fund. So let's start off with what's called a QCD, qualified charitable distribution. So if you're 70 and a half or older, you can give money from your IRA directly to a charity tax-free. It's an awesome opportunity. Any of our clients that are that age or nearing that age, this is something that we're typically recommending them to do with their charitable gifting. And so this is something that you can give $750 from your IRA to the OCEN SGO that we're talking about here today. And that counts as an QCD, so that counts as that IRA distribution, and it also counts towards the state tax credit as well. So you're taking advantage of 2 opportunities in one gift. And so that would be something that we typically recommend if you're at 70 and a half or older to give the $750 from your IRA, save on federal taxes, get your state taxes back. It's a great deal all around. The other opportunity that we talked about, that donor advised fund, well, with this opportunity, this is going to be more of a planning strategy for those 70 and a half or younger is typically what we advise. This is something I personally do. Every year we have multiple videos on donor advised fund. It's a great way to give right now, especially with standard deductions so high. And so the idea of a donor advised fund is you can give a chunk of money in 1 year, and now you could potentially itemize deductions and get more of an advantage from a tax standpoint, get more write-offs is ultimately the idea. And then that donor advised fund is what you'll do your giving for the next 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, whichever you decide. So for example, let's say you give $10,000 a year. Maybe you have Apple stock that's worth $100,000 and you've owned it forever and you bought it for $5,000 and now it's $100,000. Well, if you typically sell off Apple stock, you got to pay capital gains. This is an opportunity where you can take Apple stock, move it to the donor advised fund. Not only do you get to write off $100,000 of charitable gifting this year, but you also don't have to pay capital gains, because if you move it to the fund and then sell it within the fund, there is no capital gain tax. So you get to have 2 savings right there. And then you just give $10,000 a year for the next 10 years, and your charitable gifting is set. You maximize your tax savings, and it's as easy as that. And so that's the idea of a donor advised fund. So what we'd recommend, if you do have a donor advised fund set up, or you're looking to set up one, is do that $750 gifting from the donor advised fund, right? Use that as appreciated assets, get the tax savings, and then give it from there rather than out of your pocket, so you can see the 2 benefits there is what we'd see. If you're not a significant giver, you're not significantly charitable-minded, donor advised fund may not make as much sense. But if you're giving $5,000 or more a year, that's when we start to recommend you look at something like a donor advised fund. So you're not leaving your charitable gifting on the table, because remember, if the standard deduction, if you're married, is about $30,000, for example, well, if you're not giving up to that amount, you're not getting any benefit from your charitable gifting, right? You're only getting benefit if it's over that standard deduction. And this is a way we can do it in 1 year and then gift from there ongoing. So yes, we'll be at the standard deduction ongoing, but at least we're able to get over the hump at least 1 year, use those write-offs to lower our income, lower maybe our higher earning years now. Maybe we could lower our income for Roth conversions. Now we can get more money over to the Roth. It can lead to many other strategies. I won't bore you here in this video here. If you want more information, watch some other videos, read my book, and there's a bunch of other strategies that you can all team these up together to save the most in taxes. And so with that being said, that's how the Ohio Christian Education Network Scholarship Granting Organization works. Again, OCENSGO.com. You'll be able to go there, get more information, make a donation. You can even make your donation annually, and that's what I personally do. I just have it annually set up, comes out of my donor advised fund, and we're all happy there is ultimately the idea. And so share this with as many people as you can. This is something that is not talked about enough. This is an awesome opportunity to use our tax-paying dollars in a beneficial way. So go ahead and share this with your friends and family and ensure that enough people know what to do here. Because what we see is people maybe are a little confused about this. And for example, when I first heard about it, I said, this is too good to be true. No way this is going to be allowed. And sure enough, it is allowed. And if you do it the right way, it can lead to a lot of success for not only you, but other people within the Christian Education Network. So hopefully this one's a good one for you. Hopefully you can enact it and making sure you can help others. And with that being said, enjoy the rest of your day. If you have any questions about this opportunity, feel free to reach out to us. We'll be sure to get you more information to ensure you know what to do.
Since we do not know your specific situation, none of this information can serve as tax, legal, insurance, or financial advice and may be outdated or inaccurate. The information comes from sources believed to be reliable but cannot be guaranteed. This content is prepared for educational purposes only. If you need advice, please contact a qualified CPA, attorney, insurance agent, financial advisor, or the appropriate professional for the subject you would like help with. Peak Retirement Planning, Inc. is an Ohio-based registered investment advisor and able to offer advisory services in Ohio and in other states where registered or exempt from registration.